Last week our story was about Jesus in the wilderness, who was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. And it's Jesus' time in the wilderness that we think about during Lent. Now the season of Lent started on Wednesday and runs all the way up until Easter. And our story today also took place in the wilderness. Except this time it wasn't Jesus, it was the people of God, the people of Israel. It happened a long, long time ago, a long time even before Jesus was born. Just after the people of God had been set free from being slaves in Egypt. When they were slaves, they cried out to God to save them, and God sent Moses to rescue them and bring them out of Egypt into freedom. And this story begins about 6 weeks after that. So they'd been set free and released, and they were walking and walking and walking. And they were in the wilderness, they were in the desert, and they were very grumpy. They were probably tired, I think they were hungry, and they started grumbling and moaning. All of the people of God, all of the people of Israel, grumbling and moaning at Moses and Aaron, because they were the ones leading the way. And they said, "This is all your fault. Why have you brought us here? Why are you leading us into the wilderness? Do you want us to die? We're going to starve to death. It would be better for us to be slaves. At least when we were slaves in Egypt, we had enough food to eat, all the food we could want. Maybe we should go back to Egypt." And God heard their grumbling and moaning. And God spoke to Moses, and he said, "I'm going to rain down bread from heaven so that the people have enough food to eat, so that they have enough for what they need every day." And so Moses told the people, "God has heard your grumbling and moaning. You weren't grumbling and moaning at me and at Aaron. You were grumbling and moaning at God. It was God that set you free. It is God that has led us here. And you will know that God looks after you and cares for you, for he will send food in the evening and in the morning." And it was true. It happened just as God had told Moses. In the evening, there was quail, birds, meat for the people to eat. And in the morning, maybe it happened overnight, the bread from heaven rained down. And as the dew cleared, on the ground, there were left flakes all across the ground. And the people saw them and they thought, what even is this? It doesn't look like anything we've ever seen before. What could it be? And they called it manna. And they tried some. And they said it tasted like wafers made with honey. And every day it was there. Now God had given them some very special instructions. He wanted them to follow the rules. He said, every day there will be enough bread for everybody, enough manna for everyone. You must only take what you need for that day. Don't be greedy, don't take too much, or store it all up. Just take enough for that day. And then on the 6th day, you can collect enough for 2 days. Because on the 7th day you will rest, there will be no bread, and you can use the things that you've collected on the 6th day. And some people were a bit sneaky. They didn't trust God, so they tried collecting more than they needed. And they tried keeping some overnight for the next day, and you know what happened? It went all stinky and mouldy, and there were maggots because they didn't follow what God had said. And when they listened to God and they just took enough for one day, everybody had just what they needed. And God said, keep some of this manna, keep it safe to show future generations what had happened, to remind them that God provided what you needed when you were in the desert, when you were in the wilderness, the hard place. God gave them just what they needed for every day. And do you know, they stayed in the wilderness, not just for 40 days, but for 40 years. 40 years, and for 40 years, every day, God gave them the manna and the quail. He looked after them for all of that time. I wonder if you've ever been on a very long walk. I wonder if you've ever got to the point of being so tired and hungry that you started grumbling and moaning. I wonder if you've ever had to wait a really long time for something that you really wanted or really needed. How did it feel to wait? Did you grumble and moan? Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between the things that we want and the things that we actually need. I've got a game for you. Okay, so for this game we're going to be thinking about things that we want and things that we need. So where you are, I want on this side of the room, that way, is for things that you want. And on this side of the room, that way, is things that you need. So I'm going to say an item and I want you to run to the side that you think it is. So if you think that what I say is something that you want, go this way. And if you think it's something that you need, go this way. I wonder if you'll run the same way as other people. I wonder if you'll all run different ways. Are you ready? Toffee fudge ice cream. Which way are you going to go? If it's something that you want, this way. Something that you need, this way. Ready for the next one? Vegetables. Remember if you want it or if you need it. What about rollerblades? You want them? Or do you need them? How about clothes? Where are you going to go? What about warmth? How about chocolate? Okay. What about a holiday? Is that something that you want or something that you need? How about water? What about TV? And bread. Which way would you go for bread? Okay, next one. An Xbox or the Wii. Which way is it going to be? Want? Need? Okay, we'll do one more. How about air? Do you want air? Do you need air? Okay. Maybe you're feeling a bit tired now. Lots of running about, lots of moving. I wonder if you chose the same things as other people. Sometimes it can be hard to work out what are the things that we need and what are the things that we want. But the good thing is that God knows. He already knows exactly what we need, and he will look after us and give us the things that we need, just like he did for the people of Israel when they were in the wilderness. It reminds me of that part of the prayer that Jesus taught his friends, the one that we use, the Lord's Prayer, where it says, "Give us today our daily bread." And we hold our hands out like this as we do it. Give us today our daily bread. Just like God sent the daily bread to the people of Israel. And it's not just about bread. It represents all of the things that we need. Give us today the things that we need. As we pray that prayer, we can remember, and we can say, "Give us today our daily bread," and we can think about all of the things that we might need today. God, would you give us all the things that we need for today? Help us to trust you, to trust that you know what we need, and you'll give us just enough for each day. Amen. In our story today, we heard about the people of Israel, and they were in the wilderness, and they were there for quite a long time. They didn't know how long they were going to be there. They didn't really know exactly where they were going, and it must have felt quite confusing. Maybe a bit like being in a maze where you don't know the right way through. So as we think about that, what we're going to try at home today, our activity, is to make our own marble maze. So to do this, you will need a marble, although we won't need that until the end, and some straws. Mine are all different colours. It doesn't matter what colour they are. And some card. So you could use some thin card like this. You just need one piece. Or you could use some thicker card, maybe from an old cardboard box. I'm going to use some of the thicker card today. And to make your maze, you will also need some scissors and some glue. You could choose PVA glue or a glue stick, Pritt stick, and a pencil. Now that's going to help you to do the design of your maze. So to start off with, once you've got your card, mine's like this, draw a design on it of where you might like your maze to go. So I've made it so that there's a little path so that you can start over here, and then I've drawn some lines to make a path for the way that the marble could go. And sometimes I've drawn a bit which is a dead end, the wrong way, where you have to go through a different path. And then what I'm going to do once I've drawn a maze and filled up all of my card is that I'm going to take the straws and I'm going to stick them on where the lines are. Let me show you. So I'm going to start off with, have my straw ready, and to start with I'm going to stick straws all around the edge because that will help my marble to stay on the maze and not to fall straight off. So we're going to stick it all around the edge, and then I'm going to cut the straw into pieces so that it can go along the lines that I've drawn. Okay, let's give it a go. Now as you can see, I've started by putting straws all around the edge like a border or a barrier, and I've just put my first one on one of the lines that I've drawn. So it's important as you go, you might want to balance it carefully for the glue to dry, to just check with your marble that you've left enough space that the marble can fit in the path as you go. So I've stuck this one on here, and you see, so it goes all along that line, and then I'm going to cut off the end so that it's just the right size. There we are. Now it's time to stick on some of the other pieces until they're all full and it's ready to go. I look forward to seeing how yours turns out. Okay, here it is, my finished maze. I've put little bits of straw all over the places that I drew. So now I'm going to test it out with a marble. I wonder if it will work. I'll have to balance it very carefully from the start and tip it slowly, slowly all around. Whoop. A dead end. Whoop. Have to be, oh, another dead end. Be very gentle to see if it's going to make it all the way to the middle. Round, it's getting there. I made it all the way to the middle. I wonder what your maze looks like. Now, if you don't have any straws or any card at home, you could try making a maze out of Lego, like the one that I've done here. Maybe you want to give that a go as well, or instead. I'd like to see what yours looks like. Have fun!
Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go, let God, let go. Cast all your cares upon Him. He cares for you. Cast all your cares upon Him. He cares for you. Cast all your cares upon Him. He cares for you. Cast all your cares upon Him. He cares for you. Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? What is your issue? Have you got a problem? Have you got an issue? What is your problem? Let go,